Hey, Rick, what did you eat last night?
Well, I had the pleasure of going to a new restaurant that I had never been to before.
Yes.
I had a friend in from town, and a really good friend, and someone I work with quite a bit. So she was in town, and we went to this place. There's this new development by my neighborhood called the Wharf, which is this waterfront property that has these really great restaurants, hotels, condos. So we went to this place called Kith and Kin, which is a really spectacular restaurant by this really great chef who I believe is from Top Chef. His name was
Kwame Onwuachi! Chef Kwame! So in case you guys didn't figure it out, I was the friend. And I am here, Rick and I usually record these podcasts from our separate computers, and we're sitting here looking at each other, recording it, and it's fun. It's so much fun. It's the first one we've really just been in the same room recording, so it's delightful. So you wanted to try this new restaurant, and you weren't familiar with Chef Kwame.
No, not at all.
And so I was like, great, sure, whatever. And so we went, and I looked in the menu, and I was like, Kwame, could that be Top Chef Kwame? Because I loved him. I loved him so much. I loved his food and his heart and his personality. He was just one of my favorites. And he combines American Southern, African, and Caribbean cooking. Hello.
That's all one needs.
Oh my gosh. So it was absolutely amazing.
So first off, the restaurant was really beautifully designed. We walked in, it was really spectacular.
Gorgeous.
And we wound up ordering, the first thing we ordered were these really great Brussels sprouts. They were called Brussels sprouts suya. And it was a suya spice, roasted tomato, soubise, and charred lime. And
suya is apparently the spice that they serve in this, I think it was Nigerian, if I'm not mistaken, street food that's usually a meat skewer in this spice. So it's some kind of Nigerian spice mix. We don't even know what the heck it was. But in this case, it seemed to have been mixed into like a mayonnaise-based sauce. Right? So the dish came out. It was so beautiful.
It was so beautiful. They had these Brussels sprouts that were cut in half, charred beautifully, and they're just starting to flake open.
Deep fried. Deep fried, charred, and then deep fried.
And they were just sort of blossoming, like part of the leaves of the Brussels sprouts were just starting to break off. And then they were in a dish, and then on the other side of the dish was this sauce. And they put the dish down, and he hands you a spoon, and he basically says, stir.
Right. Well, there was also the charred lime that had been dipped in some kind of sauce.
Yes.
And, you guys, the lime was cut the opposite way from the way Rick and I normally cut limes. It was cut pole to pole instead of across the equator. And then it was charred and dipped in probably this, I'm guessing, the suya spice. And so they said, squeeze the lime and stir it all together. And it did actually squeeze really well. So if you're ever squeezing lime juice from a half a lime, I've learned that we should probably cut it the opposite way from the way I normally do, which is, long ways instead of a crossways.
Totally. Because that's what I'm thinking. I want to try that to see if as much juice comes out, because that was great.
It did. I gave it one good squeeze, and it all came out. It was amazing.
Yeah, and because of that spice was spread over the top of the lime, the juice went right through that spice and brought the spice right into the dish.
And then this creamy, I'm guessing mayonnaise-based, I don't know, sauce that had the other thing in it. It was so good. It was super fatty, but it was delicious. Delicious. Then what do you have after that?
So after that, I had ordered, you ready? Wait for it. This is the very exciting part. I had this thing called Sistina Bay salmon escovitch. And from the most I could tell, Sistina Bay, it's definitely northern, definitely Canadian. And it's a Canadian type of salmon. It came with pickled pepper and carrot sauce, sweet plantain, and cilantro. And it was a small square piece. And I have to say, I don't eat salmon. I was telling Kate at lunch that I don't eat salmon out a lot in restaurants because I get it so much. I eat it so much. It's never the first thing that I'm drawn to. But this one I was drawn to. And it seems like it had been fried on one side because the top part was charred. It was very firm. You were saying that you thought it had been fried in like oil in a pan.
It looked like it was shallow fried in oil, in like a good half inch of oil, because the whole outer layer, it wasn't just that the skin was crispy, it was that the browning went down like a half inch around the outside of the salmon. So it looked to me like what I believe they call a shallow fry. So it's not deep fry, but a shallow fry. So it was sitting in oil. And The flakiness, the color inside, I could even see.
The top, it was firm.
Oh my
it had chew. It had texture. It was a little brown in some spots. And then the bottom part of it was so flaky. And as I broke it off and I continued to eat it, it got flakier and flakier towards the middle. And sort of for me, when I eat fish and it gets flakier and flakier towards the middle, I'm like, oh man, is this just going to be a raw middle piece of a fish that I'm going to eventually get to?
Oh.
But it was pretty perfect.
Interesting.
And then it had this it was sitting on this wonderful carrot sauce, which I had never really had a carrot sauce before.
Well, and it's obviously, it's a pickled pepper and carrot sauce, which I've never certainly had. And I tasted the sauce and it was delicious. I don't, if you listen regularly or know me, you know I don't like seafood. And I wanted to eat that fish. I just know for a fact that I don't like salmon, so I didn't take a bite of it. But everything about that plate was so inviting. You'll see the picture on the website. It is gorgeous. It was the most beautiful piece of salmon I've ever seen. And the plate was just vibrant yellow. And the beautiful subtle pink of the salmon. It was gorgeous. And oh, that sauce was delicious. And it was beautiful. It was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful plate.
And it just didn't taste fishy. You know what I mean?
Well, I probably should have tasted it. In retrospect, I should have tasted it. Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was just gorgeous. And I had the Ethiopian hot chicken sandwich, which they describe as crispy chicken thigh, Berber hot sauce, ginger slaw, and a brioche bun. And it was this gorgeous fried chicken sandwich, basically. But it was far and away the best chicken sandwich I've ever had in my life. And I've had some chicken sandwiches. Like, it's always a safe bet on a menu. You know what I mean? It's like, chicken sandwich. It was amazing. The fry was crisp. It was flavorful. It was cut in half in this. You'll see on the website, even the presentation was beautiful.
Stunning.
Like, I've just never seen it that way. It's not that, it doesn't seem like it's that interesting, but I've never seen it that way. They cut it in half and then they put it cut side down on the plate. And it's a tapas place, sort of. They say it's made for sharing, so it would be really easy for two people to share that. And oh my God, it was so, so, so delicious. The bun just sort of melted in your mouth and disappeared, which is exactly what you want from a bun. It had just the right amount of spice. There was a little pickle, a little ginger, a little slaw, so it all balanced itself. The texture was perfect. The flavor was perfect. Again, fatty. I got a super heavy dish between the Brussels and the sprouts. I was sort of done for the day. I mean, the Brussels and the sandwich. It was a fatty meal. But oh my God, it was so amazing. And I had the second half of it the next day for breakfast, and it was just as good cold, I'll let you know.
What was so amazing about what Kate was saying about my fish and how it looked so good, she wanted to try it. The minute they put her plate down, the fry on that chicken looked so good. Mm-hmm. I wanted it. God, because I just felt, and the bun was just, it was that amazing relationship.
Exceptional.
Of the right proportion of bun to what's actually on the bun, which is the chicken in between the bun and going in your mouth. It just looks so mouth-watering wonderfully.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. And that was all we had room for, because it was lunch. And that was it. So that was lunch. And then
the bill comes. We asked for the bill, and then the waiter comes over and he says, "How'd you like it?" And then this is when Kate is basically asking, "Oh, is this the Kwame from Top Chef?"
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh my God, yes."
And then the waiter goes, "Do you want to meet him?" And I was like, "What?" Yes, I do. And so the waiter was like, "Great." And he went away and he came back and Rick and I were like, oh my God, we're so excited. And we're going to give him a card from the podcast. We're so excited because we're going to get him and he's going to be our best friend. And so then the waiter comes back and he was like, "He's cutting some steak. He'll be with you in a minute." He was in the kitchen cutting steak, you guys. He was in the kitchen. He made our meals.
Yeah.
He made our meals. That's why they were so good.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. And then he comes out and he's so cute. I mean, you'll see the picture. He is so cute. I have such a crush on him. I love him so much. He was super, super nice, super sweet. He just took our compliments and was a little embarrassed, I think.
Yeah,
and just,
agreed.
And we forgot to give him our card because we were so starstruck. And he was super sweet and he let us take a picture. So you'll see there's a terrible picture of me, but he looks awesome. And, it was just great. And we almost went back today. We really wanted to go back today and eat. There's more things on the menu we want, but we're doing this instead. So we hope you guys appreciate that we care more about you than the red lentil thing.
Yeah.
Want to eat at his restaurant. But if you're in D.C., Kith and Kin at the Wharf.
Yeah, it's definitely something to check out.
Highly, highly recommended.
So, Kate, what did you have for dinner?
Right, so that was lunch. Dinner, and this literally is the same day, y'all. Dinner Rick took me to this place called Ambar in D.C., which is is it Croatian? Croatian place that his sister Helen found after they went to Croatia, and they fell in love with Croatia. And then for his birthday, when they got back in town, Helen, because she's Helen, found a Croatian place in D.C. to take him to. And it turns out it is a freaking gold mine. If you are anywhere near D.C., you should even fly to D.C. to go to this restaurant, you guys.
I would agree.
Cannot describe the amazing quality and the amazing value, because they have this deal where it's $49 for all you want to eat or drink, and they have a bunch of cocktails and a menu of, I don't know, we didn't count it, but what, at least 50 items?
50 items. Yeah.
And every single thing we had was delicious.
Yeah, there's nothing that you're like, ugh, please, I couldn't have that again.
No. So, what cocktail did you choose, Rick?
I tried the Sarajevo Old Fashioned, which was really great.
And it had some plum raiku. It's some Croatian liquor in it.
Yeah.
With the normal rest of the old-fashioned things, bourbon or whiskey or whatever it was, and so on. Yeah, I had that too. You and me and Helen had that. Emmy had the mojito.
I had 4 of them.
We did well. Hey, Rick. Did you know that the FDA allows an average of 30 or more insect fragments and 1 or more rodent hairs per 100 grams of peanut butter?
Really? Is that supposed to, am I supposed to feel good about that?
No!
It's terrible.
No, that's 3.5 ounces. That's not very much. What I want to know is, how do they count them?
Totally, right?
What counts as a fragment, you know? So, yeah, we've been eating a lot of bugs. Yet another reason for me not to have peanut butter in the house.
There you go. Any reason not to keep peanut butter in the house, I'm all for.
Hey, Rick, did you know that there are a lot of food-related phobias that are actually legit medical phobias? So one of them is the fear of cooking, which is Lachanophobia. The fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth is Arachibutyrophobia. The fear of vegetables is called Lachanophobia, and Alliumphobia is the fear of garlic.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was going to relate to vampires.
Yeah, I know. Yep, nope. There's actual people with the fear of garlic as well.
Fascinating.
I wonder if they think they're vampires. Probably not.
Fascinating.
And then there's an eating disorder called orthorexia nervosa, where the sufferer is obsessed with eating healthy food.
Oh my God. If only I could have that for like half a day.
I know, I thought that, but then I was like, that's a terrible thing to think, because obviously it's an eating disorder.
Yes, totally. It's a terrible eating disorder.
But it was my initial thought too, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. You don't want, that, you can't think that.
No one wants anyone to have an eating disorder of any type.
No, exactly. But, of course, I everyone understands the impulse to say that. So, again, $50.
For all the food you can eat and all the drinks, so.
Cray. So, you guys, you need to not judge us, because we're about to tell you all the things we ate.
Now, let's provide some context. There were 4 of us.
There were 4 of us, and the dishes were tiny. Like, for example, the asparagus dish had 4 spears of asparagus. So when we got it for the table, we each had 1 asparagus spear. So that gives you the context of the size of the plates,
and
right?
we'd have to order another dish of asparagus.
Yeah, well, we did order another dish of asparagus. But the point is, they were not ginormous dishes. And so these are all tapas-style plates to be shared. So when we talk about the 100 things that we ordered, it's not as bad as it seems.
Right.
So we had those delicious sort of basically Manhattan-y, old-fashioned-y kind of cocktails.
Yeah.
Yep. And then at the end, just to finish up the drinks, I had a glass of sparkling wine.
Which was tasty.
Yeah, which we shared. It was super sweet, but it was perfect for dessert because we didn't really have dessert. Oh, no, we did have dessert.
Oh, right. That was so sweet.
Yes. Well, weird that we're jumping to the end, but like they brought us a thing that said, "Welcome to Ambar," and powdered sugar on the plate, and then this gorgeous...
Like fried donuts.
Oh.
Weren't they? They were
fried
fried
donuts.
Like
sort of like beignets or...
With chocolate.
Oh.
And we thought...
they were like sopapillas. We decided they were like sopapillas, is what they felt like, with honey and chocolate, just fried dough. They were gorgeous, and strawberries.
We were so grateful that she brought it, but then the waitress did sort of drop a drink on our friend Emmy, so maybe that's why she brought it.
Yeah. Yeah, Emmy got a mojito on her. And of course, Emmy's so generous, she's like, it was refreshing. Because Emmy's the most gracious human alive. Okay, so we're going to go through the menu and tell you the things we had, and don't judge us, because there were 4 of us, and sometimes we had literally 1 bite each.
Yes, literally.
So, truly, wasn't that cray-cray.
Okay. So one of the they have 3 types of flatbreads. We got the white flatbread, which was just Kajmak, cured aged cow cheese.
You have to explain what Kajmak is. It's a particular type of cheese that they do in this region that's akin to ricotta. It's a fresh cheese that's in the ricotta family, but it tastes different.
So this flatbread had Kajmak, cured aged cow cheese, fresh herbs, truffle paste, and olive oil. And again, they brought it, and you know what? It cut beautifully into 4 pieces.
It did. There was 4 little tiny slices of it, so it was like a little tiny white pizza. Then we had a Kajmak later, which was the aged version of their Kajmak, which was called Zlatibor.
Easy for you to say.
I checked to make sure I was right. And then we got the chef's tasting of the spreads, which was Ajvar, which is their, again, cheese with pepper, eggplant, and garlic. Then we got some Kajmak that wasn't the aged version. And then we got Urnebes, which is the cow cheese, Ajvar, and chili flakes. So basically, cheeses with and without flavors.
And it had the most spectacular bread. They had 2 types of breads, one of which just basically seems like a white, soft, tasty bread. And the other one, is that the one we were thinking that was similar to beignet? Because it was clearly fried bread.
Yeah, they had a fried bread in their bread basket. It was either white bread or fried bread. So there was no healthy bread option because everything had to have bread on it. So it was either going to be fried white bread or not fried white bread.
Now, we also did 2 pies. They have these baked pies, one of which is a meat pie and one of which is a cheese pie.
And they're phyllo.
The cheese pie had crispy phyllo and then cucumber yogurt and
just cheeses.
Cheese. It was
it was very much like a Greek feta type cheese pie.
Yeah.
I thought. And then the meat pie had that with meat in it also. And the only thing I didn't finish off my plate, the only thing I sent back, because, you know, one is conscientious when one goes to an all-you-can-eat place of not being wasteful. Yeah. And so the only thing I didn't eat, because I'm also conscientious of not eating anything I don't really want. So I didn't quite finish the meat pie. It was good, but it wasn't quite worth it. The cheese pie was awesome.
Yeah, the cheese pie was so flaky.
Yeah.
So flaky.
Totally. So we had the pies, the phyllo pies. Then we had the veggies. We had a grilled asparagus that came with also a little velouté sauce, a little tiny. It was so beautifully presented because it had these 4 spears of asparagus in the middle with this sauce. And then in the corners, they had a couple little teeny pieces of crispy prosciutto, and then a couple teeny little cubes like the size of dice, like you would use to play games with, of pumpkin and potato.
Oh, it was stunning.
Interesting, creative, delightful.
What is velouté?
Velouté is some kind of cream-based sauce. I actually don't know exactly what's in it. I really don't know.
Hold on. Janice,
look it up for us. Is she asleep?
Yeah, she's probably asleep.
She's asleep.
That's her. Oh, that's her making a drink.
Oh, okay. That's her pouring the drink all over the keyboard.
Drinks.
Janice.
My God. She's a disaster. Listen,
why do we keep her around?
Listen, guys, if you know of any producers for a podcast that are looking for work, please send them our way.
Please. We need some help, y'all. We need help with our production values. And we're actually not kidding about this. We really, if any of you listen to us and like us and want to help us be better producers, we would be very, very, very grateful. We're not joking about that part.
Hey, Kate, what have you been into lately?
I've been into spiralizing vegetables.
What?
Yes.
My brain just hurt.
I got a vegetable spiralizer that makes noodles out of vegetables. So the most popular ones are called zoodles, which is made out of zucchini, which I actually haven't tried yet because I don't like zucchini, but the sweet potato ones are really good. And I've done it with carrot and beet and all kinds of stuff. And I made a cauliflower Alfredo sauce that I put on top of the carrot noodles. It was awesome.
Wow. That is fascinating. Sounds like a lot of work to me, but...
It is. It actually takes a lot of elbow grease. It's physically difficult, at least the one I have. It's hard, but it's
Maybe I can make that my workout before I eat.
That's it. Any workout we can combine with eating, I think, is a great idea. Yeah. How about you? What are you into these
I've
days?
actually been into beets. You know, I like beets, and I only usually have beets when I'm out at a restaurant, and I usually have it in a salad, but I've really been trying to incorporate it into my kitchen. So the first way I've been doing it is in my morning smoothies. And unfortunately, you know how intense raw beet is. So I put in way too much raw beet in the early days. It was tough times.
I've done that too, and the whole thing just tastes like dirt, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
So now I've got it down to just the right amount of beet that gives it the color and the flavor and doesn't make it taste like a big old mud pile.
That is good to know. I never did reach that.
I've also been putting them in, like if I'll just boil them up for some quinoa dishes too, so.
It's smart, yeah. I like them, but I find that I like them for a second and then I'm done with them. Like I can't eat a huge amount of beets usually.
All right, so then we moved on to these things called Leek croquettes, which were so darn tasty. Now you're going to have to help me with the pronunciation of this. Ajvar, emulsion.
Yep.
Panko crusted.
Yep. Yep.
They just basically melted in your mouth. They were lightly fried. They came out like little round ovals. God, we got 2 orders of those.
If you're familiar with croquettes, it was a really, really good croquette, which is a filling with a light breading and deep fried. That's what a croquette normally is. And this was a very, very good exemplar of that. They were delicious. We also, did we get those Brussels?
No, we didn't get the Brussels.
Damn, we're looking at the menu, man. We didn't get the Brussels sprouts. That's a bummer.
Now, here's the other thing we got. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Mushroom crepes.
Yeah.
Wow, were they good. Basically, mushroom crepes, red pepper emulsion, velouté. Is that right?
Yep.
Velouté and Gouda. And they were just slight.
Should have tasted those.
Yeah. I wish I had told you last night that it didn't taste super mushroomy.
Yeah, I should have tried it.
And they were sort of layered like little mini lasagna.
They looked like little bitty lasagnas. They didn't look like crepes.
3 levels high.
Yeah.
Like tiny lasagna for elves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked like it was like building height. Now I wish we'd also had the cauliflower. We're looking at the menu as we go through this. It looked pretty awesome. We had the red quinoa salad, which was grilled corn, dried cranberries, heirloom tomatoes, lettuce, and balsamic. I felt that was meh.
Yeah, that's fine.
We had the kale salad, which was Parmesan chipotle dressing and garlic croutons. It tasted like a little Caesar salad. It was nice, but
super tasty.
Yeah, again, meh. And then we had some of these meat situations. So Helen and I had the pork tenderloin, which was pretty good. But what was amazing was the smoked pork. And we asked our server, we're like, should we get the spicy pork sausage or the smoked pork sausage? And before it was out of our mouth, she was like, smoked pork. And it was amazing. It was this beautiful, beautiful sausage. And then, did you guys get some seafood
Yeah,
here?
we got a couple things. We got this tuna tartare, which was really great. So you ready for this? It was tuna tartare, as you might expect tuna tartare anywhere.
Yeah.
But what was amazing about it, it had a squid ink butter that was spread on the entire plate.
So they did a schmear. You know how on the TV, they do like a schmear with the back of their spoon? They did this on the cutting board because it was served on a beautiful wooden cutting board. So they had this gorgeous schmear of the squid ink butter, which was like it looked like it was done with a knife. Like what's it called? The knife you use for frosting, an offset spatula. That's what it looked like it was done with, an offset spatula that smeared it across.
And it looked like squid ink. Like you look at it and like, oh, that doesn't look the most appealing.
Yeah, it was black.
Was super, super tasty. And that was also complemented by a little pear salsa and some almonds. And
pear salsa.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Go
on.
And then we had these really wonderful shrimp skewers. And you know what? I really struggle with shrimp a lot because it either comes really big or really small, and sometimes it's just never cooked well, right? It's a really hard thing for people to overcook, and these were cooked spectacularly. So they were like 3 shrimp. It was 1 shrimp on a skewer, and then it basically had asparagus, pepper, and sesame aioli.
Sorry,
you know what's so funny, Kate? Look what it says on the menu.
Prosciutto.
Did I eat prosciutto?
Did you eat prosciutto?
It didn't taste like prosciutto.
I'm sure you didn't.
I think I would have known.
I'm sure.
Well, I didn't get sick, so...
Yeah.
Not that means anything.
No, I'm sure you didn't eat prosciutto. Just like I don't always eat secret anchovies in my food that I don't know about. Nah.
Totally. And then we got we got this really great thing called the sesame crusted salmon, which had a horseradish sauce, spicy eggplant, and arugula. It was really spectacular.
It was so pretty.
Yeah, it was stunning. And the great thing about all this food is I'm eating it and I'm thinking, this is really, really healthy. And at the time you think you're eating a lot of food because you're ordering all these dishes and they're literally running them to you one after the other. But when you get a dish and it's split by 4, it's really, a lot
of times it is literally 1 bite per dish.
Yeah.
Which is why it works out. So I wouldn't want to go here with less than 4 people personally because I want to have 1 bite of 100 things rather than 100 bites of one thing.
And this is really similar to what you and I have talked about as far as the Indian tradition, where we like to go to Indian places and Indian dinners.
The buffets.
Where you get to sample everything and not just one. Because when I go to Indian, I'm ever happy when I just can have 1 Indian dish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really satisfying on so many levels.
Yeah. So, if you're in the D.C. area, we cannot recommend highly enough Kith and Kin on the Wharf and Ambar in Capitol Hill. Mm-hmm. So please visit them and let Rick know you're coming and invite him to dinner.
Because I live really close to both of these places.
He does. Please take Rick out to dinner. He'll tell you what to get, man. Please follow us. Please rate and subscribe us on iTunes and wherever else where you get your podcast situations. And Facebook. We have a great Facebook page. We curate it really nicely. We have a beautiful website. You won't believe what I ate.com. Rick does a great job there. You can email us.
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram. We have some fun stuff going there.
Yeah, you won't believe what I ate at gmail.com.
And listen, let me remember, if you have a really great meal that you've had, record it right then and there. Send it in to us. We'll play it on air.
Tell us what you ate last night.
We're so interested to know what you ate and how you felt about it.
Mm-hmm. Thank y'all.
Thanks for listening.